So I welcome you all to this interesting revision segment where we are going to revise through some good questions that we had covered. These questions that I gave you to practice. So I just want us to revise through them. We see the mistakes that we were making. So these are simple questions and this is a short lesson. So I just want to test you with this and see how you can understand them clearly. So after this, I'll also give you some questions. So we are done with stoichiometry calculations. It is now time and chance for us to be revising through. Even as we start the next topic, I guess we are all going to be serious. So no one will say, no, me, I've started in the middle of the topic. No. So we are all starting together. So the first question was saying, first thing is this is what you were given. A sample of 0.03 grams of magnesium was added to 20 cubed centimeters of 1.0 molar. This is also called molar or moles per cubed decimeters of hydrochloric acid. First question you were taught to say, so question A, we were taught to say, write a balanced chemical equation of the reaction between magnesium and hydrochloric acid. So the balanced chemical equation, this is magnesium plus hydrochloric acid. This is how we get to write it. Then what is the product? Magnesium chloride. Magnesium chloride, you do this, then I say plus hydrogen gas. I put a 2 there. Is this balance? Hydrogen 2, hydrogen 1. Once I put a 2 here, so when I just put a 2 there like that, I put a 2 there, it means that the equation is what? The equation is now balanced. Hydrogen 2, chlorine 2. So just like this equation is what? Is balanced. So this is a balanced equation. Magnesium 1, magnesium 1. Chlorine 2, chlorine 2 because of these two that I've put there. Hydrogen 2, hydrogen 2. So this is the first question. The next question, we were told to say, write a word equation for the reaction above. For this reaction, we write the what? Word equation. So the word equation is very simple. You are just going to say magnesium, you write the word magnesium, plus it is reacting with what? Hydrochloric acid. You write it like this, hydrochloric acid. So hydrochloric acid giving us what? Giving us this compound that is here. This is magnesium chloride. So magnesium chloride, that is magnesium chloride plus hydrogen gas. Plus what? Hydrogen gas. Plus hydrogen gas. So this is how we are supposed to answer the second question. This is a word equation. So you just write in words. When you are told to write a word equation, it means that you just need to write in words. Even as we answer these questions, I guess you've got these questions written so that even as I'm answering, you've got a difference where you are checking these particular questions. We move to C. C, the question is saying, what is the chemical test for hydrogen gas? So they want us to write the chemical test for hydrogen gas. Here you are just going to say, so we say for this one, so there are certain things that I want you to understand. So for hydrogen, the chemical test, what you just need to say, you just say that a light sprint, so a light sprint will burn, so this one will burn with a squinch, what we get to call a squinch pop. Some people will say a sprint with a pop sound. It is just one and the same. If it was oxen, so I'm also giving you for other things. For oxen, if it was for this question, we were just told the chemical test for hydrogen. You just say a right sprint will burn with a squinky pop. You are done. But if it was for oxen, you just say that a growing, so you say that a growing sprint, so a growing sprint will rewrite. This is what you are supposed to know. If it was carbon dioxide, you just say that this one turns, so we say this one turns lime water. It turns what? It turns lime water milky. So you are answering questions just like this. If a question was to come, you even know, but where we are going, I'm going to explain these things clearly to the point that you are going to understand them very well. If it was ammonia, which is like this, you discover that ammonia, this one gets to do what? It turns damp red litmus paper blue. Litmus paper blue. So these are certain things. These are chemical tests. So I've added 3. If you encounter them, you'll be able to understand them. So these are just what I'm calling what? These are chemical tests. This is what you need to say. If they say, give the chemical test for this, these are what we are supposed to know. So I've given you 3 of them. It's a bonus. Then this is for the question. We were told about hydrogen. So you just write that one. Then we move to the next question, which happens to be D, question D. So we move to question D. I guess you are writing down these things. So if you haven't written, you can pause the video a bit, then continue. So let us now go to D. We move to D. Those of you that answered, I guess you are even able to see your mistakes and you are marking yourselves. So this is the question. So we move to D1. We are on D1. The question D1 will say, calculate the mass of magnesium which was in excess. So they want us to calculate the what? They want us to calculate the mass of magnesium which was in excess. Before we even answer this particular question, or before we answer this question, we need to understand something. Which was in excess? The mass of magnesium which was in excess. Okay, so what am I going to do here? First of all, I need to know the one that is a limiting reagent. Looking at the way this equation is, so if I go to calculating, let's say number of moles for what? Number of moles for magnesium. So I say mass, it is 0.03 like this, over what? Over mass, which is 24. So if I divide there, what answer am I going to get? So if I divide there, use your calculator. So we open up our calculators and divide there. What answer are we going to have? So 0.0, so we say 0.03, we divide it by 24. What is the answer? The answer we are getting is 0.0012 we are getting this answer. So moles of what? Saying moles of what? Magnesium. Then we move to the next question. We move to the next question. For this one, hydrochloric acid. So number of moles for what? Hydrochloric acid. Which one is the answer? So number of moles. We now understand that we can use the formula. We say concentration times volume. for us to come up with a number of moles. So concentration times volume. What we are going to do here, you say this is equal to, I guess these formulas you already know them. Concentration 0.10 multiplied by volume, we get that one, that is 20. We divide it by 1000. What is the answer? 0.02. We are going to get 0.02. That is the answer we are going to get there. So this is when we multiply that one times, so 0.02 times 0.10. What is the answer? What answer are we getting? So if we multiply here, the answer we are going to get here, we say this is now equal to, so I say 0.002 moles. So 0.2 moles of what? Of, I say of what? Of hydrochloric acid. Have you seen? Of what? Hydrochloric acid. And I remember telling you to say, if we want to determine the one which is a limiting reagent, what we are supposed to do here is this one, we say this one is having a what? This one is having 1. So if we divide by 1 here, we'll still maintain this. But here, there is a 2 there on the balance equation. We get this one, we divide it by what? We divide it by 2. So once we divide it by 2, what we are supposed to do, I'll say this is now equal to, I'll say this is equal to, that same answer, I say divide 2. What answer am I getting? The answer that I'm getting is 0.001. Have you seen? So moles of that. So this one or that one, you discover that this one is the limiting reagent. Hydrochloric acid in this case is the limiting reagent. So I now know that, okay, so this one is the one that will be in what? In excess. So they want me to find the what? They want me to calculate the mass of magnesium which will be in excess. So what I need to do here, this is something that is so simple. I calculate the difference here. Have you seen? I know that mass is equal to what? Mass is equal to what? I know mass is equal to number of moles times molar mass. Number of moles is what? Number of moles I subtract here. This one minus that one. So I subtract the 2 to find the number of moles now that will be in excess. The number of moles that remained. Have you seen? So the question is saying calculate the mass of magnesium which was in excess. That remained. So what I'm going to do here, I subtract, I say that one that is there, 0.00125 minus 0.001. What answer are you getting? The answer that we are going to get in this case is 0.00025 multiplied by the what? Molar mass. What is the molar mass? The molar mass is 24 for magnesium. 24. So which is equal to what? What is the answer here? What will be the answer? That answer we say times 24. What will be the answer? The answer will be 0.006 grams. Because this is mass, grams of what? Of magnesium. So this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm done. Hope you've gotten the concept. Where did I get this one? You subtract this one that has remained in excess, and this one which is a limiting reagent. So the mass that was in excess, it was this mass. From we add that mass. Have you seen? The mass was what? The mass was this. Then we've remained with what? 0.006 grams. This is the mass that remained in excess, and the number of moles that remained in excess was this one. This is the number of moles that remained in excess because I had to subtract this one minus that one. This is the answer I got. So you are done with that one. We move to the other question, which is question number 2. So the key thing here is understanding the concept. Once you understand the concept, these are simple things that you can't fail, even in an exam. So here, the question is saying, calculate the volume of hydrogen that could be produced at what? RTP. First of all, you know that RTP. At RTP, the volume is what? We've got the volume which is 24 cubed dense meters. At RTP, this is the volume. We know that that is the volume. For what? Hydrogen. So we know that, okay, there is a formula that we are supposed to understand. The formula is like this. Number of moles is equal to volume over what? Molar volume. Where we now understand that for this one, for volume, we say volume is therefore equal to number of moles times molar volume. You can use this particular formula. If we've just made V the subject to the formula because we want to calculate volume. So the question that I have for you here is, what is the what? Want to find now the number of moles. The number of what? The number of moles. Want to find the number of moles. So we find the number of moles for which one? For hydrogen. How do we find the number of moles for hydrogen? For us to be able to find the number of moles for hydrogen, what we are going to do is this. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, okay, I go back to the equation. So I go back to the equation since I'm done with this and I guess you've written this down. I say, okay, what I need to do here, I'm now going to equate. Which one was the limiting reagent? It is this one. This was the what? Limiting reagent. I'm now equating it to that one. So I'm not going to use this one that I divided. You only get to divide it if you want to find the limiting reagent. In this case, this one is going to be lab D. I'll just get this one that is here. So I get the one that was the limiting reagent, this one. I will say, how many moles are there? 2 moles. I say 2 moles of hydrochloric acid. I equate to how many moles here? 1 mole of hydrogen. 1 mole of what? Hydrogen. Then what was the number of moles that I had to calculate? It was what? 0.002. Then I equate to what? I equate to x, like this. So I'm now looking for the value. So let me lab this. I'm now looking for the value of x. X times 2, that is 2x, which is equal to 0.002 times 1. This one will still maintain 0.002. I divide both sides by 2. I also divide both sides by 2. If I divide both sides by 2, what I'm going to get now, this and that to be cancelled. So x will now be equal to what? So you get that one. I guess you are able to connect these things. So we say 0.002 divide by 2. What is the answer? We are getting 0.001 moles of what? Moles of hydrogen. So moles of hydrogen, I get the hydrogen there. Then it is this one now that I'm going to put there. Volume is equal to number of moles 0.001 times molar volume STP, it is 24. Then what is the answer? We are saying molar volume. If I was to include the units, some of you get to make mistakes. If this is moles, so if I was to include the units, I will say 24 cubed dense meters per mole, since it is called molar mass. This is what you're supposed to write it. Don't just end here. We are saying molar mass, so the number of moles should be there. You know that what is molar mass? This is the mass of 1 mole of a substance. Where I'm going to say this is equal to, I multiply there. This same answer, I get to multiply it by 24. What is the answer? The answer is 0.024. Then, since it is volume cubed centimeters of what? Of hydrogen. I'm done. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm done with that particular question. So we are getting everything that we've learned, putting them on one question, getting all the data that we've gathered, and simplifying a question. So what I can tell you, let's just keep studying, let's keep revising through these things. Hope you've seen how I've answered these particular questions, and this is how you need to answer them out. Let us now move on to question number 2. So let me just write down question number 2. We see how we are going to answer it. So let's go to question number 2. So this was question number 2. So this was question number 2. So how can we answer this question? In an experiment, 2.60 of zinc was heated with 1.71 grams of sulfur according to the reaction below. This is a reaction. The first question that was given, we were told to say which one is a what? Limiting reagent. We were told to determine the limiting reagent. How can we determine the limiting reagent in this case? We find the number of moles. So how can we find the number of moles? We calculate the number of what? Number of moles. For us to find this, what we need to do, or what we are supposed to do, we say, okay, this is equal to what? N is equal to number of moles. I'll say number of moles for what? I'll start with zinc. So number of moles for zinc. I say, okay, what is the mass? Zinc. What is the mass for zinc? 2.60. The reason why I'm writing like this, because I know we already have the formulas in our book. Mass over molar mass. What is the molar mass for zinc? 65 grams per mole. So if we divide, what answer we get in there? So if we divide, what answer are we going to get? 2.60 divide 65. What is the answer? The answer is 0.04 moles. Don't forget, we want to determine the limiting reagent. So we now further divide this by what? The 8 that is there. So we divide it by 8. What is the answer? So we divide it by 8. We say divide 8. What answer are we going to get? We are going to get 0.005 moles. So this is the final answer. Okay, we are done. We move now to the next one. We move to the next one. Number of moles for what? For sulfur. So I'll do this. This is equal to mass. It is what? 1.71 over. Sulfur is having 8 there. So sulfur has got 32, isn't it? Sulfur has got what? 32. Since it is having 32, 32 multiplied by 8. So when you get the 32 multiplied by 8, we get to multiply it by what? 8. We say 32 times 8. What is the answer? 256. So this is the molar mass, 256 grams per mole. If I put the units, even there I put grams. So if I divide, what answer am I going to get there? So can we divide 1.71 divide 256. What is the answer? What answer are we getting there? We are getting 0.006679668. It is just going. So I'll just end there and say moles of what? Sulfur. So there is the one that we've used to balance there. So even if we divide it by 1, we are still going to get the same answer. So you just conclude which one is having less number of moles here, which one is having less number of moles in this case, which one is having less number of moles. It is this one. Have you seen these ones? So you just conclude by saying, therefore, the limiting reagent, the limiting reagent, the limiting reagent is zinc. You are done. So don't rush into saying, because there is 8 here, there is 1, so this one is this other one is the limiting reagent. No, you need to calculate. You are given the data above there so that you can calculate these things. So we've calculated that zinc is the limiting reagent. That is how you are supposed to answer this question. We move now to the next question. We move now to the next question. The next question is telling us to say, what was the mass of zinc sulfide produced? So the mass of what? Zinc sulfide. Which calculation am I going to use here? I'm going to use mole to mass calculation. Mole to mass what? Calculation. Mole to mass calculation. It is the one that I'm going to use here so that I make things very simple. I get to use the limiting reagent, zinc. So I will this just between this and that one. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say, okay, moles. How many moles are there? 8 moles. So 8 moles of zinc. I equate to the mass. What is the mass there? There is 8 there. So 8 zinc has got 60 what? 65. 65 times 8. What is the answer? So 65 times 8. What is the answer? 65 times 8. What answer are we getting? 520. So I put the 520 there. Then this is 32. 32 times 8. What is the answer? The answer was 256, isn't it? 256. I add. So I want you to follow me clearly. I can make a mistake. It's very possible. So I add there 520 plus 256. 256. What is the answer? I'm getting 7 what? 6. I've also included this one. So it is what? 776 grams of what? Zinc sulfide. This one, I'm going to use this, not this answer, the final one. No, this one was there so that I determine the limiting reagent. That's the reason I had to divide it to this 8 that is there. So I'm going to get this one, 0.04 moles. I equate to what now? X. I now find the what? I need to find the value of x. Then I'm done. So this is how we need to answer. X times 8, it is 8x, which is equal to. Then I multiply there. So 776 times 0.04. What is the answer? The answer is 31.04. I divide it by 8 both sides. So this same one, divide by 8. What is the answer? If I divide by 8, x will be equal to 3.88 grams. Of what? I conclude. Of what? Zinc sulfide. So this is the what? This is the mass. This is what I need to do. So we are done with those questions that I gave you. So those questions were just as simple as this. This is how we were supposed to answer them. Hope you've seen how I've answered this. I'm just applying the concept that I already know. So it is just a matter of knowing these things, a matter of understanding these things, then you are done. So once you understand them, you get them, you are done. You no need of stressing, No need of saying, how can I answer them, what and what. No, exactly like this. And the other thing that I have always wanted to tell you is that each time you try to combine two different concepts in chemistry, you get confused. So this one I've always wanted to tell you, because I've seen some of you, it is also good if you try to bring in concepts from maybe in the book that you saw, but make sure that even as you are answering, you stick to that. Don't try to hear you answer it like this, there you answer it like that. No. Have you seen the way I'm answering these questions? You are going to meet another tutor that is going to teach you these things in a different way, but we are all arriving on the same answer. So this way I get to teach them. This is my own way of discovery. This is how I've discovered them. And another person will teach them in other ways, but by the end of the day, we need to arrive at the same answer. So don't try to bring in concepts. You discover that those people, today you are watching this video, tomorrow you are watching that video, and you end up confusing yourself. I'm not saying we should not be doing that. We are supposed to be doing that. But even as we are doing that, we know that, okay, this one I've understood. Let me also try to look for other methods. Maybe I can find a simpler way of going about them. But if you try to mix concepts, you end up confusing yourself. By the end of the day, you seem as if you don't know even a 1% of that topic. So this is where we are going to end from, and I'll just give you one question, just one question. I see how you are going to practice. Just one question. I'll just give you one question, but I see how you are going to answer that question. So I see the people that have understood. So maybe this week, if I'm impressed with today's work, we can start a new topic. But according to the plan, this week I just want us to be revising through these things that we've covered. So this was chemistry practice questions, and this is where we end from. I guess you've seen how I was answering these questions. This is how you are supposed to answer them. So we end here, and one thing I want to communicate: if your payment is due, communicate. If you won't communicate, me, I'll think as if you've stopped. So the best way, I just remove you. So those of you, let's make sure that if your payment is due, you communicate, you tell me, okay, my payment is today, but I'll pay on this date. But if you stay quiet, you just discover that you are removed. So let's just make sure that we are moving together and helping one another. Thank you so much.